Hey, welcome into another episode of Halos in the Infield. Look, I wasn't able to do the post-game last night. I was out of town, came back really tired. But other than that, look, the Angels lost 4-2, and it wasn't because they're pitching. And the pitching, I don't care what people say. Sosa left 2 home runs out there. My dad's like, boy, that rookie didn't have it last night. I'm like, what are you talking about? Didn't have it. That's how you're being spoiled right now. Angels are 24-17, seven games over 500, a game out of first. They should be winning these games to propel themselves through June and July in that tough schedule ahead. But you're losing games to inferior opponents because you can't score. And you've played the bottom 2 hitting teams in the league, and you've put up goose eggs as far as wins the last 4 games. And Oakland and Texas are just laughing all the way, trying to get back into this race. Both of them respectfully now at 3rd and 5th place, Oakland being in 5th. The Angels have not done anything with a lineup that should be stellar. They have guys who can hit. I don't want to hear about the rotation in the bullpen. It's not their fault. They're allowing less than 5 runs with the exception of that game in Texas and the one earlier in Houston or at home against Houston. Other than that, they've been in every single freaking ball game. The problem is, how many guys have we left on base this year? Just in the last 3 games, you had 17 in one game against Texas in Game 2, 17 in Game 3, and 10 last night at the Big A. That is 44 runners left in scoring position or left on base in the last 3 games. Because guys like Wallach, who they found out his holes in his swing after the first 3 games he played, he can't hit the broadside of a barn. You still got Velasquez, who's still swinging at pitches high and outside over the plate, popping them up in the short left field. Instead of when he actually puts the barrel on the bat, hits line drives and gets singles and puts the ball in play, utilizes that speed. But he's not doing that. Nobody's is helping him out. You got Ohtani up there leaning forward with his right foot too early, swinging stupidly and wildly to where his helmet almost flies off. When he's on, he's going to left center field. When he's off, he's jumping ahead of the pitch. And then you got Rendon up there swinging first pitch up and outside of the zone, popping it up. Tony Two Bags is not really getting on too much, although he's been getting some hits, but he's not getting any hits with runners in scoring position. Walsh is still swinging over every slider and curveball. Yes, he had 2 home runs the other day, but again, it's just 2 home runs. We need him to start getting some hits, get on base, work some walks. He's still striking out a ton. They're still watching pitches go right down the middle. Mike Trout is watching pitches go right down the middle. He has the great eye to foul pitches off and stay in the counts, but he's not watching or protecting the corners on 2 strikes. He needs to do more of that. He's swinging at sliders. You got him hitting in the wrong spot, Madden. You got these hitters like Taylor Ward's the only one that's locked in right now. Everyone else is just flailing away at stuff, and no one does in-game adjustments. The most frustrating thing is to watch the fact that our boy, the pitching coach, Matt Wise, is there during innings, before and after starts. After guys come out, he's there with a tablet working on bettering them during innings. You don't see that with fat-ass Paul Sereno and stupid Jeremy Reed. You don't see them trying to help these hitters get better. You're not seeing them say, hey, you know what, in your next at-bat, Shohei, through the interpreter, don't lean forward with your right foot. Wait for the pitch to come your way. Go the other way. Utilize that power and that upper body strength of yours. Nope, he doesn't do any of that stuff. Hey, Velasquez, lay down a bunt. Try to beat one out. Tyler Wade, go the other way. They're leaving the left side of the infield wide open. Nothing like that. They just go with the same approach from inning 1 through inning 9. There's none of this, hey, man, we could really change things up here. We get some speed on the bags. Let's bunt guys over. We're going to shock them here. We're going to surprise them there. Nothing. So I'm going to show you guys a few things on here, guys and girls. Here's the coaching staff for the Angels. Obviously, Mike Scioscia, if you look right here, on the year right here when he took over in 2000, he had Joe Madden right there, because we're hoping that when Joe Madden came, he was going to bring that Tampa-style 1985 baseball over to Anaheim, like when he had Carl Crawford, Evan Longoria. You had, Carlos Pena, Dietrich, guys like that were just no-namers, but he turned them into somebodies because they utilized every aspect of their talents, speed, power, and hitting. And defense, but he hasn't brought that over here. He still is. He's like Sleepy Joe now, where he's just smoking weed and like, the hitting doesn't matter. You're doing stupid progressive crap, like not having batting practice. You're like none of that stuff, and it makes no sense. It's only going to better the players if they have batting practice. Anyway, You had Mickey Hatcher. Before him was Rod Carew, Hall of Famers, guys who knew what they were talking about and could help the kids. You had, what is it called? You had Hatcher and Eppard right here. Eppard I don't know too much about. Don Baylor, for God's sakes. Angels legend, Red Sox legend, Hall of Famer. He was helping out with Dave Hansen, a pretty good pinch hitter extraordinaire when he was around, right? So those two worked together. But look who came over in 2016 in the years of Mike Scioscia. Fat-ass Paul Sereno. He made his way onto the staff right here for interim, and then in 16 he was officially part of the Angels. So after Hansen left, Sereno took over the helmet nachos all to himself. He worked with Eric Hinsky, and then he brought his little Pokemon friend over there with Brad Ausmus and Jeremy Reed. Now, the reason why I bring these guys up is we know the resumes of Dave Hansen, Don Baylor, Mickey Hatcher, Hall of Famers, correct? Let's look at the stats of Paul Sereno. Now, again, if you want your batters to learn things and you want someone who had experience, who had a lot of success in Major League Baseball, a guy who did all three aspects or four aspects, borderline Hall of Famer or whatever, just a guy that was consistent to teach his good values of either health, hitting, regimented practice, all to your players, right? Well, instead, you get a guy like this. Let's look at Paul Sereno's numbers while he was in the major leagues. He went from 1989 to 1999. His career high with home runs was 31 and 80 in 1997 at the age of 31 years old. You would say, oh, those are good numbers, right? His batting average, 269. The highest he ever batted was 289, which was the year before. Every other year, it's 250 and below, 207, 225, 235. Let's look at his strikeouts because, let's see, he averaged almost 100 every season until he got to about 30 years old when he became a quote-unquote power hitter. 103 strikeouts, 112 strikeouts, 133 strikeouts, 101 strikeouts, and those are not even in 162 games played. So why do you want an all-or-nothing guy here? His walks were down for a power hitter. He only averaged 50 walks a year. That's not very good. But then again, he still has a job with us for some reason, right? Now you can see, oh, those are pretty mediocre numbers. Those are like Garrett Anderson numbers. They're like maybe comparable to Torrey Hunter. Not really. Because Hunter never struck out like that. Hunter got a lot of doubles, not like this guy who got very few doubles. He worked a lot of singles, not like this guy. Didn't get too many hits, including in that big year that he had. He only had 136 hits. Was the strongest he ever did, and that's with a 289 average. That's the best season he ever had. So you look at that and you're like, well, those aren't impressive numbers. Would you want your hitting coach like that? Look, Chili Davis was a way better player. We all know that, being long-term Angels fans. He went to Oakland as a hitting instructor, helped them in the Oakland A's with mediocre players get to the postseason. He goes to the Mets with a franchise that's all in disarray before Cohen bought him recently, and they fired him. And that's because they didn't get off to the start that they figured, and they needed someone to be a scapegoat, and Chili Davis was fired. Now, how is it that we can have losing season after losing season, and we rather get rid of a manager first than Paul Sereno and Jeremy Reed? Those guys still hung around through 3 managers so far. How is that possible? That doesn't make any lick of sense whatsoever. So let's look at Jeremy Reed's resume. Now he's under what they list here on baseballreference.com. They're saying Jeremy Reed is your freaking hitting instructor and fat-ass Paul Sereno is your assistant hitting instructor, right? So the guy with better numbers, according to the website, is the backup assistant hitting coach, and he don't do shit. Let's look at the main guy. How did he earn this job? Well, Jeremy Reed, if you don't believe me, right there he is with Seattle uniform. He played he played 8 seasons in the major leagues, right? Starting in 2004 with the Seattle Mariners. That year, he had a robust no home runs, 5 RBIs, and a 397 batting average because it was 18 games only played, and he had 23 hits and 66 plate appearances. The only year he played the entire year, almost 141 games at the age of 24 in 2005. The best numbers he could put up is 3 home runs and 45 RBIs, and he struck out 74 times. 74 times with a 254 batting average. Next season, what does he do? Follow that up with 67 games played. He only had 6 homers and 17 RBIs, batting average of 217. Next year, batting average of 176, batting average of 269, batting average of 242, batting average of 143. A career hitter of 232. 232 or 217, I'm sorry. A career batting average of 217. So you're telling me right there that this guy you have Rod Carew, who's a Hall of Famer, high 300s or mid 300s batting average total for his career. Don Baylor, the same thing. Mickey Hatcher, the same thing. Dave Hansen, 300 as a hitter for his career. And you're going to get 2 assholes that can't hit their weight as your hitting instructor with the most important roster you have, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and all these other good players coming through the system. Who knows? Maybe the problem isn't Joe Adele himself. Like maybe it's him, like, mentally. Maybe he just needs to be tweaked by the right kind of hitting instructor. Maybe he needs someone hands-on that's going to help him. Maybe, he's not like all these other players that just get it. Maybe he does need a little bit of coddling. And what's wrong with that? He's only been up 2 years. Did we give up on him too fast because we have asshole hitting instructors? That's my whole point. We have a team that should be scoring 5 to 6 runs a night. Easily. And they're scoring 3 or less every night. And they're leaving half a dozen guys to a dozen guys on every night. And you've seen the quality of at-bats. And you can't just say, oh, hats off to the pitcher. Hats off to the pitcher every night. You can't do that. These are major league hitters too. We have better lineups name-wise, even if you don't even want to go by stats, name-wise than most teams in Major League Baseball. So why is it that they continue to fail? Because they're in the same routines of not being in a routine. They are not consistent because they're consistently inconsistent. They don't have anybody pushing them to tell them, hey, we need to do this in this scenario. Hey, we're going to hit the batting practice extra time this week. There's no working on fundamentals. None of that. And you could clearly see that. You could clearly see it. That these other teams come in there with a game plan and they utilize it. They utilize whatever talent they have on their team to get the W, like Oakland. That team should not be beating us consistently. Texas should not be beating us consistently. Do you think they have better tablets than we do? We have the same freaking information. It's how you utilize it with your talent. So not only do these players want it more, they're in a system that helps them to progress and do things better, even with less talent. We have more talent, same efficient quality of tablets that they do. We just have a shitty coaching staff. So what was the problem last year? Why do we have to fire Butterfield? Why do we have to fire the first base coach? Benji Gill, I like that dude. I like the other guys they brought in. I'm not complaining about that. But if we could fire the coaches on the corners, why aren't we firing the damn hitting instructors? What do they have on this team that is preventing them from keep their job? Because one other thing I'm going to show you right here, I'm going to show you exactly where this team lines up. This is 2016, first year of Paul Sorrento. Let's look at where the Angels stack up. There's first place. Boston going by batting average, home runs, everything else right there. Number 1, Colorado, all these teams ahead of the Angels. Where are the Angels? Towards the end in 2016 with Sorrento at the helm. Only the Reds, Yankees, who had a bad year that year, Miami, Kansas City, Braves, Oakland, San Diego, and Philadelphia were worse. Let's go to 2017. Let's see if he rights the ship in 17. Here's 2017, regular season. Go down here. Towards the bottom again. 26. Only the Pirates, Padres, and Giants were below them in hitting, in everything. How is that possible? Okay, so let's go to the next one. 2017 or 2018. Let's look at this again. Towards the bottom again. 242 average. You're sort of middle of the pack. But come on. Let's move ahead now. 2019. Do this again. This is all of baseball. Where are the Angels at? middle of the pack again, 247. Nothing got better. Don't you think it's time for a change at this point? Nothing. Let's go to COVID year. The bubble, the one that didn't count. The one that nobody cares about. COVID year, middle of the pack, 248. You're still not above 250 in all the years that he's here. And I'm not even showing you the other stats about home runs, singles, the strikeouts were high, everything. I'm just showing you batting average. That means it's not working with anybody. 2021, which was last season. Let's check this again. Houston, number 1 again. Go down. Now you see an improvement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still 245. A lot of that's a shift. But you're really, I mean, this is, again, you're getting Shohei Ohtani's performance in there. You got a lot of injuries. But you say, oh, they're right above the Dodgers. But they had a better pitching staff than the Angels last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. With a crap lineup, we're scoring more runs than they are now. Now let's shift it over to this year. And this is where a lot of you are like, he's doing a good job. I think you're too hard on the hitting because the numbers bear this out. This is like one of the biggest oxymorons, right? If you look at right now what they're doing, the Angels have a 245 average again. So they're average right now in 2022. But if you were to compare their, let's see, their hits, they're number 2 in the league right now in hits. You look at runs, they're number 2, right behind the Dodgers. And you're like, hey, you're too hard on them, man. You're too hard on them. But watch. Let's see, doubles. I think they are. Hold on, I gotta move this over. This cursor's being dumb.
They're average right now in 2022. But if you were to
think they are. They're towards. Yeah, they're right there at 8. So let's go this way more. Let's see home runs because I know they're like towards the top in home runs. There's 56 home runs. The Angels are 2 at 55. You look at walks. They're right. They're right towards the top at 143. So they're around here somewhere. Like, okay. And you wouldn't think that. So they're getting on base, right? But here's another one though right here, strikeouts, because I believe this is where they're at top. Yeah, number 1 in strikeouts, 383. Now let's go down to the bottom of that right here. Now, what do you notice right here with teams right here with strikeouts, the most strikeouts? Atlanta, although World Series current champions right now, they are not doing good in their division, and they have a 224 batting average. Arizona sucks, 209 batting average. Baltimore Orioles, 228. The other one I can't figure out, Milwaukee's right here with strikeouts, but they're a good baseball team. But you see the difference: Oakland, Philadelphia, Chicago, Cincinnati, Miami, Pittsburgh. Then it starts to get into like the average teams to good teams right here, right? As you move up. And the team that's most successful, least amount of strikeouts for some reason is Ohio and Chicago. But most of these teams are winners. Dodgers right there, Mets. They win because they strike out less and less. They may have different stats as far as the reason why they're up there, but my point being this, for a guy who's been consistently inconsistent even as a hitting instructor, both guys Pokemon Go, Jeremy Reed, and fat-ass Paul Sorrento with his nachos, they have not really upped this team's game. They've not really helped this team get to the next level. And now that we have clear talent, something that this team has not had in 7 years, they have clear talent in the starting rotation, bullpen, and especially on the field, with little or no injuries at this moment so far. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. They've been pretty good injury-wise this year. Just minor stuff that they're getting a lot of players back right now as we speak. So that's not the issue. You have your 4 main core guys, and you have Taylor Ward emerging out of nowhere. And when we get guys on base, nobody can score. Nobody can get a hit. No one wants to do anything situational because the hitting instructors don't preach that. Instead, we're all swinging for the fences. That's why we lead the league, or we're 1 home run off of leading the league. Because everyone wants chicks did the long ball. That's all we're doing. We're not trying to do the small things to win games. And that's where the difference is going to be. They better turn this crap around fast because we're getting exposed. We are getting exposed, people. And this was my rant. I just wanted to get on here. Hopefully the Angels can turn it around. I don't like seeing this team lose. Go Angels, and let's get the W today against stupid-ass Oakland.